In the old days, man tried to catch a glimpse of the future in the strangest of ways. They locked themselves in dark rooms, not partaking of food or drink. At the stroke of midnight, they ventured out into the night, through the dark woods where strange creatures roamed, to see if they would be wealthy, to see if they would be happy, to see if they would live, to see if they would be loved. Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special series of episodes of Click Draw. I am the SlugLady, and this is Year Walk. Now, Year Walk is a point-and-click adventure game. There's our little map, where you use the keys to roam through this very confusing forest. And right now our goal is just to go to the windmill over here, because that's the only thing open to us. And we use these little arrows let us know where the paths are. Alright, let's go to the windmill. Hello. There you are. I've been waiting for you all day. You should not go outside without a hat on a cold day like this. You will freeze your ears off. And I am quite fond of the person who those ears belong to. Did anyone see you coming here? Now you're being silly. You know that I'm not ashamed of you. It's not like that. It's not that. I like you very much. But you and I come from different worlds. He's waiting for my answer. I said I would give it to him next year. And this is the last day of this year. Now you're being unfair. This isn't any easier for me. I don't like it when you're like this. Calm down. You're walking. I hope you're joking. You do remember what happened to my cousin, don't you? Promise me you won't do anything foolish. You're not supposed to know what happens in the future. You should hurry home to your cottage and get some rest. It's getting dark soon. Hurry home to your cottage. You should probably go. Alright. So, this series I have played through before, but it didn't quite have the presence that this game deserves. It's a very narrative experience that involves a lot of reading and a lot of very interesting puzzles. And we click on each of these little pieces here, so we can bring the name together. So I decided for Halloween, instead of doing a somewhat blind Let's Play, I thought I would take you guys through the world of Yearwalk. Alright, so it is now night. Now let's take a look what's in the corner here. We have our map, and now it's all been opened up to us. We have our encyclopedia, which talks about the different folklore that's going to be in this game, because this is a game that's very heavily influenced by folklore, I believe mainly Swedish folklore. And we also have this little thing here. Oh, Scandinavian folklore, I apologize. We have this little thing here, the CV for a Theodor Almsten. The Yearwalk Encyclopedia is a collaborative effort between Simogo and Theodor Almsten, who is the author of all the written content. Theodor Almsten was born in Stockholm, 1968, but spent most of his youth in Edsbury, where his mother was born. He graduated from Lundsley University in 1992 and is a doctor. I still don't know what that word is. I didn't know the first time I went through this either. His lectures on manifestations of evil in folklore has been full every term since 1998 and onwards. And we have a little bit more information about him right here. Numerous appearances on Swedish television. Received the prestigious Hornet Award. I actually don't know what that is either. The Crone's Tongue has been translated into 16 languages. I know I'm going backwards through this. It's a little strange. So, this guy is quite well known, and this is his encyclopedia. Now, what we are doing is yearwalking. So let us see what yearwalking is. Yearwalking was at its core a vision quest, with the purpose being to foresee the future. There were very rigid rules concerning the yearwalk, and not adhering to them could prove very dangerous, even fatal. How the practice of yearwalking came to be is shrouded in mystery, but it seems to have been a widespread practice in Sweden until the beginning of the 19th century, and in some rural areas as late as the beginning of the 20th century. The practice was likely over 1,000 years old and most certainly pagan. Yearwalking varied greatly regionally and even locally. There might have been differences between one village and the next. All of the variations had a couple elements in common, though. A yearwalk could not be done on any common day. There were certain days a year when the gate was opened. Generally, in liaison with important festivals such as May Day, Midsummer's Eve, or Christmas Eve, and most commonly, New Year's Eve, which is the night that we are walking on. The yearwalker could not partake of any food or drink that had been served on these days. A sacrifice no little significance, since these feasts were sometimes of a rare occasion. A sacrifice of no little significance, since these feasts were of some of the rare occasions when when food would be plentiful and varied. I apologize. A yearwalker had to avoid other people, so they commonly locked themselves in dark rooms and were not allowed to see fire for the entire day. Perhaps not a vast sacrifice on Midsummer's Eve, but on a cold winter's day, it would be uncomfortable at least, if not hazardous. If the yearwalker followed these steps, he would leave his dark room at the stroke of midnight. This would be his last chance to cancel the yearwalk. Once he ventured out, there would be no turning back. The church was the final destination for the yearwalker. On his way, he would typically encounter a number of supernatural creatures, which would pose a threat physically, mentally, and spiritually. The Yearwalker made it to the cemetery. If a Yearwalker made it to the cemetery, he would walk around the church in an intricate pattern. This would open the Yearwalker's eyes to the future, but it would also lure out the church grim. After having completed the Yearwalk, the Walker would see visions that could manifest themselves in different manners. When the Yearwalker left the cemetery, he might, for instance, see a somber procession of dancers dressed in their finest church clothes. These would be the people that would die the following year. The reoccurring theme is, of course, the Yearwalker who meets his own ghost on the road. Another story tells of how the Walker would see newly dug graves. Love played a great part too, so the Walker would typically meet wedding processions or even attend weddings yet to come. One testimony from the late 19th century tells of a mental patient named Martin Nilsson, who described his visions as otherworldly experiences. Before I saw what happened next year, I lived among the stars. I lived there for many lifetimes, it seemed. What do I care for next year? Time has already ended. Today, the practice seems to be almost entirely forgotten. So that's an example of how the game's going to go. Every time I finish a chapter, I'm going to be reading a corresponding encyclopedia entry. Now, let's see, where is the map? Because it said that we need to head to the church. And we do have this mysterious box, which we yet to know what to do with. Let's see. And then the other thing we have is a journal with a username and password, which is yet to be opened up to us. We have the hints here as well. And we have started the Huldra chapter. So that would be this entry right here. So after this chapter, we will be meeting the Huldra. Alright, and here is the church gates. And there's our first clue. The tree lady appears to have our key that we need. So let's take a look around. And then, as you may have noticed, there's a bunch of symbols around. Like we have these symbols right here, and then we have the runes on different stones. Those are for other puzzles that we have yet to open, and I have gone the wrong direction. And while we're here, let's see what this is. Yep. Spooky. Alright, so the place I'm heading to now is looking at this dead tree. Because we have a tree lady. And if I can find So apparently that is not open to us, so I'm gonna take a little wander around and see what we find. Got a nice little river here. There's another one of those runes. We've got a... oh, I guess this is a furnace, I believe. Mm-hmm. Is there anything to do at the windmill? No? So this is a point-and-click horror game, though the horror is definitely more atmospheric, I'd say. There's the box, so this is just leading back to the house. And I thought, what better for a horror game for a Canadian to play than one that takes place in the snow. Yes, I know this is all Swedish and Scandinavian folklore, but... oh, hello. Where is this? May I have my key, please? And now a new path has been opened to us. Alright. So, excuse me, guys. I forgot to grab a pen. Now, this is one of those point-and-click adventure games that do require you write things down. So let's see if we can get in here. So, there is a place where we saw an image of two owls. That was right here. Let me just spin this. Alright, so that was right, left, right, left, 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 right, right.